Three, four. Hello and welcome to this video on using the C++ list template. My name is Brett Robley and I teach C++ programming in the business school at Cal State University Fullerton. The class is ISDS 371 and it's spring 2019. Let's get started. Open up your Visual Studio and create a new C++ empty project. We'll call this alphaList2, which is the name of the program that is coming from our textbook, C++ Without Fear, 3rd edition, Brian Overland. Now, we've looked at data types that are intrinsic to the language. The STL, or the standard template library in C++, gives us higher order data structures that we can use to store collections of items. So the list is considered a sequence container. There are other sequence containers as well, such as the deck, which if you read it, it looks like DQ, and the vector, which I will address in a couple other videos. All right, so here we go. So we've added a new C++ file, and now we'll do the normal includes to get our IO stream capabilities of CN, Cout. Now here's a new line. Line 2 is where I'm asking for the list template to be brought in, and line 3 I'm bringing in the string template. Line 4 we're just being lazy and we're going to assume that symbols are in the standard namespace. First, I'll create a string s, which is just going to be a working variable, and in line 9, this is where we get some new syntax. I want to create a list of strings, and notice I'm calling it list, and then in angle brackets, I say string. So I'm declaring that this is a list template of strings. So list of strings is the variable name, and what we're storing is in the standard template called list. And then we need a way to actually step through the elements in our sequence container, the list container. And so notice in line 10, I say list, in angle brackets I say string, I use the scope resolution operator, and then I say I'm using an iterator, and I'm calling it iter. This is a very handy and safe way to step through all of the items in the list container. So moving to lines 12 through 17, let's create a forever loop, that's the while true, and ask the user to enter a string. We'll use getLine from CN and store the string typed at the keyboard into S. We'll test the string for 0 in case the user just hits enter, which signals that they're done and they want to break out of the while loop. And then if size is not 0, the user obviously typed something, and now we're going to call a member function on list of strings called pushback to push it onto the back of the list. Then we'll invoke a sort on it, and then I want to run up here and I want to shrink the vertical size of the code just so it fits better on the screen. So since we have a single break here, I've collapsed the if statement down to one line. And now we're going to use this iter variable and some of the methods that are built into the list template. So list of strings.begin puts us to the very beginning of that the first element in the sequence container, actually one before the first element. And then we say if iter is not equal to list of strings.end, meaning we haven't gotten to the end of the list. And then finally, I'll increment iter so that I can step through the container. And then I'll go ahead and output the item, and the way I output the item is I use indirection on iter. So it looks like a pointer. I use the asterisk to ask the compiler to go get what iter is actually pointing to, the data type it's pointing to. And I'm just fixing my curly braces here, so let me move this back up into the body. Okay, so that's pretty simple, and then we'll go ahead and return to the operating system, and let's build this and see if it runs. I like to use debug start without debugging. And it's taking a little longer than our typical build. It's got to go find these libraries. Okay, enter a string. So I'll enter in tools. And then I'll hit enter, and then I'll enter in some food. Let's see, I guess I'll put in clothing, some tents, maybe some medical supplies here. And then I'll hit enter on a blank line to signal the end of the list. And oh, it looks like I forgot to pause or actually read from the keyboard. So let me go put in a system pause. And that will stop the execution of the program long enough to let us see what the output of the program is. Go ahead and rebuild. Oh, I noticed the red squiggly. I mistyped system, so let me fix that. Okay, I'll rebuild. And I'll type in my tools, type in my food, my clothing, my tents, my medical supplies. And now watch when I hit enter on a blank line, then I get the sorted list, and that's the whole program.